Welcome to the Safe, Secure, and Empowered 24/7 podcast, where we talk about how to protect yourself, your business, and your team from unforeseen events. We will interview and chat with professionals on a variety of topics concerning personal safety. I hope you tune in to learn more as we hear from those helping you and businesses stay safe should an unpredictable incident occur. Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Safe, Secure, and Empowered podcast. My name is Pamela Dawson, and we here at Parker IoT Solutions, we are we are dedicated to bringing awareness for some of the issues we face every day concerning personal safety and security. And we know that danger has many faces, and one of those faces is DMST, which is domestic minor sex trafficking. However, we do have heroes to answer the call to help victims in this situation. One of those heroes is Mary Frances Bowley. She is the founder and CEO of Wellspring Living. And today we have the opportunity to talk with her briefly about Wellspring Living, about what they do with regards to the human trafficking. So I'm going to bring her on right now. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you, Pamela. Nice to be
It,
with you.
it's nice to have you here, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak
Of
with us
course.
just briefly about Wellspring Living and what you're doing and what you have been doing. So, would you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, well, over 20 years ago, there was a group of women who had really become aware of the disparity and marginalization of other women. And so my background is in education. But
Okay,
as we saw things in our city that were disturbing, we felt like we couldn't just live our life without being involved. And so, as we formed Wellspring Living, the very first thing we did was open a safe place for women to come, thinking it would just be a respite, and we would just help them whatever their needs were. We didn't have, quote unquote, an agenda, nor did we have a target population. But the moment that we opened, our very first young girl, 20 years old, walked through our doors, and her story astounded me. And in 2001, people were not talking about sex trafficking at all. And she was
right,
20, and she tells me her story, and I'm thinking, wow, awful, awful childhood, awful, awful choices, because I'm not even understanding. She wasn't having these choices. These were life circumstances that took advantage of her. But at the
right.
age of 16, she ran away from home with her boyfriend, who was much older. He took her to Kansas City. Things happened. She got on a bus, got back to Atlanta. It continued to happen until she was 20 years old and walked through our doors. And so, where we thought we were opening this nice, safe place for her, it really became a realization that she needed more than just a safe place, which is what
Right.
you're talking about, safe place. But a safe place is also a place where you can build trust, a place where you can be vulnerable, a place where you can receive mental health services, therapy, a
Yes.
place where you can learn things you didn't learn as a teenager because you were being exploited, and a place where you could move toward your life goals. And so comprehensive care became our like byword. That's what we had to provide for her. And she taught us what was needed for a victim of trafficking. And that foundation is what is we're still serving on today.
Wonderful, wonderful. When you, I'm going to veer away. I know I had sent my outline and everything to you, but I remember when in 2016 or 17, I was at a grocery store, actually a gas station, and there was this young lady that was standing outside of a McDonald's in the parking lot, and she had on black leggings. I'll never forget it. Black hoodie, and
Mhm.
she had her hood
Mhm.
up, but I couldn't see her. But she was just
Mhm.
standing there like a statue.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a white van next to her,
Mm.
and she was standing outside of it, and this guy comes up to her, and he's not, in her face like this,
Mhm.
but he gets really close to her, and it just seemed odd. And at that time, I was not even aware. I was so clueless to human
Mhm.
trafficking.
Mhm.
But I was like, this is strange here, you know.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I would ask the question, would it had I called out to the police and said, "I think something is going on here." Would they
Mhm.
answer? Do you think they would
Yes.
answer, or they
Yes.
would?
Yes.
Okay.
In 2001, I would say it would be just a guess, but all police
Mhm,
and law enforcement have had numerous trainings, and especially Atlanta Police Department have been great to work with. We had a young girl when we first opened our receiving center, which is for youth,
mhm.
all genders, where someone can come once they've been identified. The girl had the chance to call 911. She actually reported it. They
Wow.
were able to rescue her and bring her to us, and it was a very dire situation. She was had just been bought from one gang to another. Those are part of the
Wow.
stories that people don't understand, that trafficking involves so many other factors, so many other criminal activities. Um,
Right.
and she was about to be shipped overseas. So I really
Oh my
feel like
goodness.
that intervention saved her life. So calling 911 is the best option. So I'm so glad you did that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um, Now it was founded in 2001, so you're celebrating 20 years
Yeah,
last year.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's a great milestone.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
what are some of the programs that you have?
Sure. So, as I mentioned, we started out just serving women in a residential setting and giving them comprehensive care. And in 2007, Mayor Franklin, our sweet Shirley Franklin, who um, decided that we weren't going to have this in our city, reached out to me. I was at a breakfast downtown, and she said, we need help with girls who are being bought and sold on the streets. And honestly, even though I had seen it with women, I just couldn't even begin to fathom that it
Right.
happened with anyone under the age of 18. And I just had to find out for myself. So I actually went to the detention center where young girls at that time were taken once they were rescued. They were
Wow.
taken in like a criminal. And once I saw where they stayed within this small concrete walled room with metal sink and toilet and bed, I was like, this can't keep happening. And so we opened our girls program in 2008, and did that. And still, that's our long term care for girls. It's been amazing to watch girls that come into our program. And not only are they getting therapy and life skills, but they are in school. We have a fully accredited school on campus, so they're getting all their credit recovery options there. And
Mhm.
we see our students, our participants, they can gain about 4 credits every 90 days, which is remarkable
Wow.
for anyone, but especially someone that hasn't even been in school for a while, because most of our girls haven't been in school for a while. Most of them are very far behind, but
Right.
they're smart. And if you can give them their educational tools or access to the education the way works best for them, they
Right.
truly excel. So that's our girls program. We had then several years later, we had a staffing agency come and say, we want to help your women get jobs. Well, music to my ears, because if you've been exploited from the time you're 16, you don't have any work history, you don't
That's
have
right.
any skills to be able to be employed. And so we just had to, it was almost like a sympathy thing. Like, would you please give her a job? This leveled the playing field, that every person that went through our women's academy that was established at that point, not only in our residential program, but anyone over the age of 18 can go. They can acquire their GED, they can get the career readiness skills they need, and they can go
Wow.
into a fully paid apprenticeship for 12 weeks, giving them experience toward permanent placement. And so that beautiful picture happened in 2014, and the Women's Academy can now serve up to about 140 to 160 women every year,
Wow.
helping them
Mhm.
move from no employment or very underemployed to being moving toward a living wage. And so that's been a beautiful picture. We are embedded in an Atlanta public school. We love to be in the community. Making sure that we are meeting the needs of the community in a way that's accessible. So we're also making sure we remove barriers. So they get MARTA passes. Sometimes we have, if they have a car, we give them gas cards. We provide a stipend toward their child care. We have a food pantry. We have a clothing boutique also with children's needs and diapers and formulas, and partnerships are making all of those things happen for our women. Each of the sessions are short, they're 10 weeks, but a lot can happen in 10 weeks. They are
Right.
getting, just like in our residential program, they're getting therapeutic and they're getting education options, they're getting life skills, financial literacy. And the partnerships for apprenticeships are really high level. They have the opportunity to work in Fortune 500 companies like Delta, UPS, Accenture. They work for the city of Atlanta. They can have their apprenticeship with Fulton County and law firms around the city. So it really is life, real life opportunities for them to get work history. And many times it leads to an employment situation at that um, business, or it just makes it possible for them to walk into a permanent placement. So that's our Women's Academy. We have a Youth Academy embedded in the women in the Atlanta Public School, Phoenix Academy, and that actually gives the wraparound services for the students there in that alternative school, helping them to be able to graduate from high school. So there's therapy, there's life skills, there's food pantry, there's clothing there for them, helping them to get jobs and their IDs, anything that would keep them from getting their high school diploma. We're trying to
Right.
work with the complete school, which is awesome. A wonderful partnership there. And then we were asked in 2019 if we would open the first receiving center in the state of Georgia for minors. And so we did that the week before COVID hit in 2020, which was always, you think about that, and that's kind of a crazy time to open a new
Yeah,
program. But thank goodness
exactly.
we did. It is full, everything that's needed for a victim once they are identified can happen in that one place. We have a medical center, we have forensic interviews, we have therapy, a psychiatrist that works with us. We have a full academic program with a principal and special ed teachers, as well as 20 private bedrooms and bathrooms for all genders. And that's
Wow.
something we've never done before. We'd only done girls. So it's been exciting to see creating equity and inclusion for all minors that need these services is super important. And
Mhm.
grateful that we were given that opportunity because in that year of 2020, it was only partial year. We served over 100 youth. So
Wow.
definitely there's that need. So those are our main programs. I will say that beyond our main programs, we want to support our graduates or those who finish the program. And so we have transitional housing options. We have the bridge community for women and their families to live apartment style. We have a graduate village, which is 9 craftsman style tiny homes that our women can live in. And those are for extended time, so they can truly become independent. So from 2 to 3 years, they have very low rent. They can save money, gain skills and permanency in their employment, which will truly lead to independence. And then we also provide housing vouchers for young women 18 and up who find their own apartment, and for them to get their certified check to their landlord, they meet with us once a month, which helps us to make sure that they're doing okay. So that's the full picture of our programming. We also work with organizations to help them learn how to serve this population, and make sure that the comprehensive care needs are met when an organization opens anywhere in the United States or abroad. So we worked with about 49 organizations, helping them to stand up programs across the United States. So that's a broad stroke of the
Wow.
work that we do.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a lot. And you're feeding the need of everything that they need. You know,
Yeah,
you're bringing around them everything that they need and cutting off anything that would hinder them from
yeah. I
being able
think
to
that
move forward.
And partners help us to do that. We partner with all kinds of agencies around the city, around Metro Atlanta, because it takes all of us working together. It's not one. Wellspring couldn't do it alone, and so these
Hmm.
partnerships are incredibly important. And so I just want to be sure to emphasize that there are a lot of things that we're offering our participants, but because of partnerships, that's what makes it so rich.
Exactly, exactly. Now, are there opportunities to volunteer at
Oh my goodness.
Wellspring Living?
Yes, there are. So if you get on our website, which is beautiful right there on the screen, you can look at how can I help, and there are a list of ways you can volunteer. You can come on campus and interact with participants. It takes some training and background check, but that's an option.
Yeah.
If you can't come on campus, there are things you can do at home with your family or with your friends or civic groups, where you can do what we call box buddies, which is creating a box filled with the kinds of things our participants need. And there's several different kinds that it has there. We have serve day opportunities where if you want your company or your civic group or your small group from church, they can come and serve on campus doing specific projects. So all of those are listed on our website. We love having volunteers work alongside of us.
Great, great. Let me ask you one other thing. The Train the Nation Training Institute. Could you
Mhm.
talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Yeah, so I mentioned that we've worked with about 49 organizations, and it's a mentorship. So people come in, and we have what we call an intensive, where they spend 4 days learning everything about the issue and the response to the issue, what we call proven practices, because we haven't been doing it long enough to quote unquote be best practices, but strength-based approach, cultural competency, understanding how substance abuse falls into this, and understanding what is the best way to touch this issue that is honoring and showing dignity to each person. And so that's a 4 day intensive, and then we have working relationships with them on a monthly and weekly basis as needed. So helping them form their board, create a case for support, helping them with fundraise planning. And then as they move to the second year, we work with them on how do I hire staff, and how do I develop leaders, and how do I do policies and procedures. And then the third year is how do I sustain. So truly helping people not just open a home
Hmm.
and might close in a year because you don't have all the tools you need, but really preparing them to do this for the long term. And I will say, of those 49 organizations, almost all of them are still doing the great work in communities all across the nation.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So, one other thing, um, donations. If someone wanted to donate,
Yeah.
is it to donate monies or different other items?
Yeah. So on our website, if you want to give, and I think there's a give button everywhere you look. You can give money. We love to receive money because
Hmm.
we look at it as investing. We're investing in people's lives. There's also
Exactly.
the opportunity with in kind donations. So there's a listing of things that we're always in need of. You can look at that. We have an Amazon wish list. You can also get on that to give. So there are many ways that you can give. We love to talk about your time, talent, and treasure. You can come in and actually teach at our Women's Academy. I didn't mention that, but we definitely need business professionals to help out with networking and resume writing and all of those things. So there are
Wow.
so many ways people can be involved, and we invite you to join us because again, it takes all of us working together to make a difference.
Exactly. Okay. And finally, you wrote three books that they address human trafficking. Am I correct? The White Umbrella, Walking this with Survivors of Sex
Mhm.
Trafficking, and Make It Zero, the movement to safeguard every child, and A
Yes.
League of Dangerous Women, true stories from the road to redemption. Could you just touch a little bit on those three?
Sure. Well, the first one was A League of Dangerous Women, and that book is stories, just stories of women who were dangerous to themselves and everyone else around them because of the things that had happened to them. but now they're doing dangerously great things. Because I
Wonderful.
think it's important to note that when someone who has seen the worst of mankind, they have a desire, a deep desire to make a difference for other women. And so that one really tells that story of the circular impact. We had a girl that, for instance, it's not in the book, but I'll tell you this story because it's so, so good. She came into
Mhm.
our women's academy. She didn't even have her high school diploma, and she was so smart. She was learning Mandarin. So tell me why she doesn't have a high
Wow.
school diploma. Her family didn't think education was important. She came in and she didn't stay but a couple of weeks, but then she came back the next session and she finished her GED in 1 month. Unheard of.
Wow.
She went into the career track. She did everything that was every class she could take. She got soft certified. She got IT certifications. She went into her apprenticeship with Accenture, and within her time at Accenture, she really was like a bright shining star. Accenture does not typically hire anybody that doesn't have a college degree, but guess
Right.
what? She is there now. She has been there for 4 years. And this summer, she
Oh,
hosted apprentices under her. She supervised apprentices at Accenture. So that full story that, things could have been, she was in dangerous situations. She was in terrible things were happening to her and the people around her. But look at the great good that she's involved in now. So League of Dangerous Women is telling that story. Um, the White Umbrella is a book really for people who want to be involved. I use the word umbrella because it's like a covering.
hmm,
We want to cover our survivors and protect them from the storms of life. We have to go to them. It's not
right.
like they come to us. We need to go to them. That we meet them where they are. So this is a short introduction of how trafficking happens, but then what does that response look like? Helping to understand what happens to the brain when trauma happens, helping people understand how do you respond to someone? What are ways that people, and I gave examples of people using their talents to make a difference, because it's not just someone that is a social worker that works alongside someone or a therapist, but they're people that use their skills and talents that truly impact each individual. And then the last one, make it zero. We know that a girl doesn't wake up one morning and all of a sudden she's trafficked. There are
Right.
factors that lead toward that. So poverty, food insecurity, family functions that are, where there's disparity in the family, and dysfunction. They're in foster care, and oh my goodness, that's very awful. Substance abuse can lead to it because they're feeding a habit. But truly understanding that it's many factors, and if we want to make it zero, we have to attack all of those factors together and
Hmm.
help make our children not vulnerable to trafficking.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to
Sure.
just share with us. And I would just push to any I would say to anyone, this is good soil to sow into. So and also to volunteer. And
Mhm.
I just say bless you, bless
Oh, thank you.
Wellspring Living, that it will continue to be a blessing for
Mhm.
others. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Miss Mary
Thank
Frances
you.
Bowley.
You take care. Have a
You
great
too.
day.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Bye bye. So, this has been another episode of Safe, Secure, and Empowered. And here at Parker IoT Solutions, we want to bring awareness to those situations in life that threaten safety and security. However, there are also solutions. One of those solutions is Save You, the personal mobile application that goes on your phone, and it causes your phone to become an automatic 911 in the palm of your hand. You can go to the Apple Store and download it. It is for Android and Apple. It is a way in which families can stay in contact with one another, and also sends alerts when you're in an accident, when there's an assault, or any other kind of an emergency. So I want to thank you for joining me today, and thank you for staying safe, secure, and empowered 24/7. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Safe, Secure, and Empowered 24/7 podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, please click the like button, share, and subscribe to follow us. We would love to hear from you, so please take a moment and leave a comment. You can also find us at our website, www.parkeriot-solutions.com. Make sure you follow us on social media. We are on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Until next time, thank you for tuning in.